Hello and welcome back to another video on Wrestle and to another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. And the WWE schedule is heavy right now. Last weekend was WrestlePalooza, this weekend is No NXT No Mercy, and then of course we've got Crown Jewel in a few weeks. This week's show dealt with the fallout from WrestlePalooza and also began the build to Crown Jewel. And after a recap of the last pay-per-view, we went live in the arena where Paul Heyman was waiting in the ring to speak. He mocked Rose by asking where the chant wanted to talk about, which led to a chant for OTC. Since it was announced prior to the show, the American Nightmare would be kicking things off. It wasn't surprising to see him interrupt. Surprisingly, Rose asked about Brock Lesnar before mentioning Seth. The two Bronze showed up and joined him in the ring. Rose told them he grew around bookers and warned them to keep an eye on Heyman because his loyalty is for sale. Rose ended up throwing the first punch and getting ahead of the fight, but the Bronze eventually came back before Randy Orton's music hit. He made the save. The Viper hit RKO's on Reed while Rose sent Breaker over the top rope with a clothesline. A pretty standard segment to open it up and set up a match. Nothing groundbreaking happened, but it was fine. We then got the Street Profits versus Mello Don't Miz, and the A-Lister and Full started the match. Mello proved a quick distraction that allowed his partners to get two with a roll, but they maintained control until the show went to a break. We returned to see Ford momentarily in control before he was spiked with a DDT by The Miz. Hayes was preparing to hit his finisher when The Miz tagged him in, but this time Mello stopped him. This allowed Dawkins to get in and take over. The Profits weren't able to get the win before Hayes hesitated to save his partner. This was a solid match, but it lost some steam at the end. Ford and Hayes could have had some incredible singles matches if WWE let them cook. 6 out of 10. Before we got Julia and Kiana James versus B-Fab and Michin. And yeah, the US champion tagged in and took control after James was being double teamed. They fought for a break and into the next segment. James and Julia spent some time keeping B-Fab isolated, but eventually made the hot tag to Michin, who hit a finisher on James, but Julia made the tag and hit over delayed Northern Lights bomb for the win. This was one of those matches that never found its footing. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it did feel lacking in some places. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to Drew McIntyre, who came out and ranted about losing at WrestlePalooza. Nick Aldis told him to stop whining, and after he left, Fatu came to the ring. Drew ended up hitting a headbutt, which led to Fatu kicking him in the face and then ripping the medical boot off of his foot and hitting him with it. Very intriguing. Feud that. Would look forward to that match. Before Zayn's Open Challenge was up next, and it was Javon Evans who answered. Josh Briggs was watching from the crowd. They started slow, but Zayn ended up backing the young OG to the corner for some stiff chops. The High-Fly hit a huge springboard clothesline to take down the champ. Zayn's a versatile before, and Evans is a bright prospect, so nobody was surprised to see them find their groove. He came in with a millimetre of winning the championship with the OG cutter, but Zayn rallied and hit the Helluva kick and the Blue Thunder Bomb. The only bad thing about this match was he had to miss a few minutes due to a commercial break. Great stuff, 7 out of 10. In our main event, it was Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax, and yeah, it was for the women's title. So yeah, the entrances and introductions took up much time. So yeah, the show went to a break about a minute into the match. All three women got in some good offense during the second segment, but again, it felt like they were cut short by a break. Jax ended up being slammed onto the steel sets by Cargill, which she rolled back into the ring after a few moments. This was when things went horribly wrong. Tiffy was late to break up a pin by Cargill, so Jax covered for it by kicking out. They were then shadily laid down for Tiffany like she was originally supposed to. The rest stopped the count at 2 when there's clearly no kick out. The ref obviously thought Jax would kick out, so it was obviously a big series of miscommunications. The majority was decent, but yeah, it was botched badly, so I have to give it a 4 out of 10. And overall, SmackDown gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Friday's show kind of dealt with the Palooza fallout quickly, and so we could build to Crown Jewel, but at the end of the day, it's a relatively lackluster and predictable SmackDown. But you should see the US title match, but of course, the show ended on a bit of a whimper. So yeah, on the whole, 5 out of 10. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.